17 days after paying his wife $1.7 billion, he married another woman. Not a year later, not a month, 17 days. That wasn't love, that was power. And it wasn't just a wedding, it was a statement to the world. I don't lose, I replace. Because when the ultra-rich get divorced, it isn't heartbreak, it's warfare. It's the restructuring of empires. There's divorce, and then there's divorce when $100 billion is at stake. When regular people split, they argue over furniture and custody. When billionaires split, they threaten entire industries, shift stock markets, and alter the future of companies that control our lives. Divorce at this level isn't emotional, it's strategic. It's about who controls the brand, the money, the information, the narrative. It's about survival at the top. Most marriages start with love. At this level, they start with due diligence. The ultra-rich don't fall in love. They calculate it. They hire investigators. They analyze family history. They study reputation risk. Because the wrong marriage can destroy billions, and the right one can secure a dynasty. When you're worth more than a small country, a wedding isn't romantic. It's a merger. Lawyers replace bridesmaids. Contracts replace vows. Non-disclosure agreements are slipped in between the champagne toasts. Billionaires don't write "I love you" letters. They write clauses. If you cheat, you get nothing. If you talk to the media, you owe millions. If you embarrass the family, you disappear. And yet, even with ironclad prenups, surveillance teams, offshore trusts, and the most expensive lawyers on earth, sometimes the empire still explodes. And when it does, billions move overnight. Stock prices drop, business partners panic, politicians start making phone calls. Because a billionaire divorce isn't a private event, it's an economic threat. Welcome to the 100 Billion Divorce Club, where weddings are business deals, where love is leverage, where divorce is a weapon, and where the most powerful people on earth will do anything to protect what's theirs. No story proves this more than the day the richest man on the planet got divorced and almost lost everything. Jeff Bezos, the architect of Amazon, the man who reshaped how we shop, read, watch, and even think. For 25 years, he had what looked like the perfect marriage. Jeff and MacKenzie Bezos met before the billions, before the fame, before Amazon. She wasn't just his wife. She was employee number one. She helped write the business plan. She packed boxes. She built the foundation with him. They were the ultimate team, power couple, parents, partners, billionaires, untouchable, until one headline changed everything. Jeff Bezos is getting divorced. The internet exploded. Amazon's stock dropped billions in hours. Everyone assumed a quiet private settlement. But then, the story detonated. Private text messages between Jeff and another woman surfaced. Not rumors, actual screenshots, intimate, embarrassing, tabloid gold. Someone had hacked the richest man in the world. Someone wanted this to go public. Someone was sending a message. The woman was Lauren Sanchez, a former TV host. But the identity wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was how the messages got out. Bezos claimed he was being blackmailed, extorted. He even accused powerful foreign entities, possibly tied to Saudi Arabia, of trying to destroy him. Why? Because his newspaper, The Washington Post, had investigated the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Suddenly, this wasn't just a messy divorce. It was international warfare disguised as tabloid drama. In the middle of the chaos, MacKenzie Bezos stayed silent. No interviews, no public anger, no legal theatrics. Her silence was not weakness, it was strategy, because silence is leverage. She knew everything about Amazon, every deal, every secret, every skeleton. If she wanted, she could have blown up the company and taken half. She could have dragged him through court for years, but she didn't. She made one move, and it was legendary. She walked away with $38 billion, the largest divorce settlement in history. But the smartest part? She took the money and let Jeff keep full control of Amazon. She didn't want the throne. She wanted freedom. And then she did something no billionaire ex-spouse had ever done. She started giving it away, faster than anyone in modern history. Education, climate, equality, billions, gone, quietly, powerfully, elegantly. She didn't need to win the divorce in court. She won in legacy. Jeff, on the other hand, transformed. After the divorce, he didn't hide. He reinvented himself. He got shredded. He started dating Lauren publicly. He went to Hollywood events, flew on private jets, bought a $500 million super yacht with a helicopter pad, launched himself into space. He became half superhero, half Bond villain. But behind the flexing, something changed. He got more private, more paranoid, more controlled. Because even the richest man alive now understood something terrifying. Your empire can survive Wall Street, but it might not survive your marriage. Bezos had the loudest divorce in history, but the next one was quieter, deadlier, and far more dangerous. Because it didn't just involve money, it involved global health, world policy, and the future of humanity. Bill and Melinda Gates. When they divorced, the world didn't laugh. It froze. Bill and Melinda Gates weren't just a power couple. They were a geopolitical force. Together, they ran the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the most influential private foundation on Earth. Bigger than the WHO in some areas. They funded vaccine programs, shaped education systems, rebuilt agriculture in developing nations, and advised presidents. Their decisions affected hundreds of millions of lives. They weren't just rich, they were global architects. So when they announced their divorce in 2021, the world didn't gossip, it panicked. How does a 27-year marriage with 3 kids, a $130 billion fortune, and control of the world's most powerful foundation just end? Quietly, calmly, with a short tweet? Impossible. Something bigger was happening. And then the truth started leaking. Melinda Gates had been meeting with divorce lawyers since 2019, 2 years before the public announcement. Why 2019? Because that's when the world discovered that Bill Gates had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, after Epstein was already a convicted sex offender. Bill had secretly met him multiple times, in his townhouse, on his plane, behind closed doors. Melinda reportedly told him not to. He kept doing it. When Epstein died in prison under mysterious circumstances, Melinda was done. She didn't go public. She went strategic. She built legal defense. She prepared exits. She protected the foundation and her name. And the divorce didn't happen until after the pandemic. Why? Because during COVID, the Gates Foundation was essential. They were funding vaccine research, negotiating distribution deals, and influencing global health policy. A divorce during the pandemic would have destabilized everything. So she waited, silent, controlled, lethal. When the announcement finally hit, Melinda didn't just leave. She maneuvered. She flew with all 3 children to a private Caribbean island, brought security, lawyers, advisors. Bill was not invited. This wasn't a vacation. It was a family war room, a strategic retreat. Align the heirs, seal the leaks, decide the future. Billionaire families don't react. They plan. And Bill? He tried to stop it. Reports say he didn't want the divorce. He knew what was at risk. Not money, power. Because when billionaires divorce, everything becomes evidence. Emails, texts, deals. Every private conversation can be subpoenaed. And Bill Gates has been in rooms with presidents, pharmaceutical giants, spy agencies, royal families. Divorce meant exposure, and exposure meant danger. So he settled. No court battles, no public trial. He protected the foundation, protected his reputation, protected access. Bill sacrificed some wealth to preserve control, because at that level, money is replaceable. Influence is not. Melinda walked away with billions, and something more valuable, freedom. She began rebranding, rebuilding, quietly distancing herself from the darker associations around Bill. And the world embraced her. People started asking, was Melinda the real backbone of the empire all along? The Gates divorce was silent warfare. But the next billionaire divorce? It was open fire. Because Rupert Murdoch doesn't do quiet. Rupert Murdoch controls media on 3 continents: Fox News, The Wall Street Journal, The Sun, Sky. He doesn't just report news, he engineers it. He influences elections, he destroys careers with a single headline. Presidents call him before making big decisions. He is a kingmaker, and sometimes a king-breaker. But while he was reshaping global politics, his personal life was chaos. Married 4 times, engaged 6, divorced like it was a boardroom strategy. Each marriage served a phase, each divorce served a purpose, and every time he walked away, he got richer and more powerful. His second wife, Anna, stayed 32 years. She helped build his empire. They were a team. She believed they were partners. Then Murdoch left her, and 17 days after the divorce, married Wendy Deng, 37 years younger. That wasn't romance. That was acceleration. Wendy was brilliant, ambitious, relentless. She rose fast. Some claim she got too close to global leaders. Some even believed she had ties to Chinese intelligence. British authorities investigated. Nothing was confirmed. But Murdoch got nervous. And when he gets nervous, he eliminates threats. He divorced Wendy in 2013. Quiet, surgical, controlled. Still, he didn't stop. In 2016, he married Jerry Hall, Mick Jagger's ex. She was glamorous, safe, good PR. People said, finally he'll settle. Nope. In 2022, he divorced her too, by email, at 91 years old. No hesitation. Why? Rumor says she questioned his decisions, tried to influence his empire. That's the one thing you don't do to Rupert Murdoch. Wives were replaceable. Power was not. Murdoch treats marriage like a corporate restructuring. If a spouse stops providing value, they're removed. And each time, he adjusts his empire to tighten control. Shares shift, boards change, succession plans get rewritten. Divorce isn't an obstacle, it's a weapon. But Murdoch shows one truth. Even the most powerful men on earth fear something. They don't fear money loss. They don't fear scandals. They fear vulnerability inside their own house. Because the only people who can truly destroy you are the ones who know where the bodies are buried. And no billionaire is more haunted by that truth than Elon Musk. Elon Musk's love life looks chaotic. Multiple relationships, multiple children, multiple breakups. Married the same woman twice, had secret babies with executives, got into public fights on Twitter with exes. On the surface, it looks messy, uncontrolled, emotional. But look closer, and you'll see the pattern. Musk doesn't fall apart in relationships. He uses them. His first wife, Justine, was brilliant, independent, and honest. She called their marriage unequal. She said he treated her like an employee. Musk told her, "I am the alpha in this relationship." Their marriage ended. She got money, but not power. Musk kept everything. Tesla, SpaceX, Solar City. The empire remained his. Then he married actress Tallulah Riley. Divorced. Remarried her. Divorced again. Who does that? Someone running experiments, someone testing loyalty, someone refining contracts. Marriage was a sandbox. Divorce was an update patch. He optimized the process until he learned exactly how to stay in control. He's had children with musicians, executives, and even through IVF and surrogacy. He believes population collapse is a threat, and that his duty is to create more heirs. Elon Musk sees children not as accident, but as legacy. He's even gone to court to stop embryos from being destroyed. He literally tried to secure his DNA in legal contracts. This isn't romance. This is dynasty architecture. Musk avoids long legal battles by ending things before they get dangerous. No spouse ever stays long enough to challenge control. No marriage lasts long enough to split the empire. Musk keeps full command of Tesla and SpaceX because he never lets anyone close enough to threaten it. The internet calls him a chaotic genius. But his relationship strategy is cold, calculated, and brutally effective. He never gets trapped. He never loses leverage. He builds legacy without surrendering power. In the billionaire world, that makes him elite. Bezos showed how fast it can all go nuclear. Gates showed how quiet it can all be destroyed. Murdoch showed how divorce can be weaponized. Musk showed how to prevent it entirely. But the most powerful families in the world, they don't just survive divorce. They eliminate the possibility of it altogether. Because the richest marriages in history aren't about love. They're about empire. And old money dynasties have mastered marriage like a science. Old money doesn't date. It selects. It calculates. It screens bloodlines like venture capital deals. If new money falls in love, old money arranges alliances because love fades. But empire must endure. Look at the Ambani family, India's most powerful dynasty. Their home is Antilia, a $2 billion skyscraper mansion with helipads, snow rooms, ballrooms, private cinemas, and 600 full-time staff. It's not a house, it's a fortress. And that fortress isn't just protecting money, it's protecting lineage. The Ambanis control telecom, oil, retail, media, entertainment, data, the infrastructure of modern India. So when their children get married, it's not a family event. It's a national signal. In 2018, Isha Ambani's wedding cost over $100 million. Beyoncé performed, Hillary Clinton attended, Bollywood royalty danced, private jets lined the skies. But the real headline wasn't the party. It was the alliance. She married Anand Piramal, heir to another multi-billion-dollar empire. Healthcare, pharma, real estate. 2 dynasties, 1 bloodline. A business merger disguised as a wedding. Her brother Akash Ambani did the same. Married Shloka Mehta, daughter of a diamond billionaire. Again, power marries power. These weren't fairy tales. They were economic strategies. Every spouse is handpicked. Every marriage expands influence. And notice something: no divorces. Why? Because failure at that level is not just embarrassing, it's destabilizing. A public divorce could shock markets, threaten political relationships, fracture alliances. So they engineer marriages that cannot fail. They don't hope it works. They design it to work. And it's not just India. Look at the Arnault family in France. Bernard Arnault, CEO of LVMH, richest man in Europe, built the largest luxury empire on earth. Louis Vuitton, Dior, Tiffany, Moet, Hennessy. He has 5 children. All of them work inside the company. Each one leads a major brand. They compete with each other for the throne. It's like Succession in real life, but colder. And their partners? Not random. They come from elite families, elite schools, carefully controlled environments. The Arnault family doesn't just control wealth, they control genetics, they control image, they control who gets close. And if a marriage ever threatens the empire, it ends quietly. With NDAs so strong, you'll never even know there was a spouse. That's the difference between new money and dynasties. New money gets divorced on TMZ. Old money erases people from history. And if marriage is about merging empires, children are about securing them. Billionaires don't just have kids, they engineer heirs. They use IVF, surrogates, genetic screening. There are legal contracts over embryos, agreements about inheritance before a child is even born. I'm not exaggerating. There have been billionaire custody battles over frozen embryos because those embryos represent future power. One billionaire literally sued to stop his ex from discarding embryos, claiming, "They are my potential heirs." That isn't emotional. That's dynasty-level thinking. And when those kids grow up, they're not raised to be normal. They're raised like royal successors. Ivy League schools, internships in billion-dollar divisions, groomed in boardrooms, trained to lead. Marriage is not personal, it's political, because they can't just marry for love. They must marry in a way that protects the bloodline. That's why billionaire weddings look like royal coronations. Guests include presidents, CEOs, royalty, celebrities. But behind the music and fireworks, contracts are being signed, shares are being transferred, alliances are being forged. The public sees romance, the family sees strategy, and when the bride walks down the aisle, everyone in the room knows exactly what is being merged. Names, assets, territories, futures. Divorce in this world is the ultimate threat. It can destabilize markets, expose secrets, invite regulators, empower rivals. So old money dynasties don't let divorce happen. They prevent it with ironclad prenups, with family trusts, with board seats that only blood relatives can hold, with inheritance structures that make it impossible for outsiders to gain power. Even if you marry in, you will never actually own the throne. Some billionaire families even have private family constitutions, rules, punishments, protocols. Some have morality clauses, reputation clauses, fertility clauses. Yes, fertility clauses. You must produce heirs. You must raise them in the family structure. If you don't, you lose privileges. It sounds medieval. That's because it is. These are modern royal families. They don't rule by crown, they rule by capital. And if you think this only applies to business families, look at actual royalty. King Charles divorced Diana, and the monarchy almost collapsed. It triggered public outrage, media frenzies, conspiracy theories, and decades of trust issues. That wasn't just gossip, it was national instability. And modern billionaires learned from it. The richest families in the world now run their private lives like statecraft. Marriage is handled like diplomacy. Children are raised like monarchs. Divorce is treated like war, because at this level, it is war. It's war for power, war for narrative, war for legacy. The average person thinks divorce is about money. The ultra-rich know divorce is about control. They don't fear losing half their net worth. They fear losing influence. They fear exposure. Because the one person who can destroy them is the one who knew them at their most unguarded. And that's why the ultimate billionaire skill isn't building companies. It's protecting themselves from the people closest to them. That's why new money billionaire divorces are loud, messy, and dangerous. Bezos, Gates, Murdoch. But old money? You don't hear about their divorces because they've already erased them before they happen. So, what's the secret of the richest marriages in history? It's simple. They don't start with love. They start with leverage. They don't chase chemistry. They chase control. They don't fall in love. They build alliances. Marriage is not personal. Marriage is infrastructure. Marriage is the foundation of empire. And divorce? Divorce is the most expensive war on earth. Unless you design your life so you never have to fight it. Because the truth is, the richest people in the world aren't scared of being alone. They're scared of losing the throne. And in this world, love is optional. Power is everything. Legacy is the only thing that matters. So the next time you see a billionaire wedding trending online, don't ask, do they love each other? Ask, what are they merging? Who just gained influence? Which dynasty just expanded? Because somewhere behind the flowers and fireworks, there's a contract, a strategy, a bloodline being fortified for the next 100 years. This is the world of the 100 billion divorce club, where hearts are negotiable, but power is forever. And now, I want to hear from you. Which billionaire divorce or marriage shocked you the most? Which one do you think was the most strategic or the most dangerous? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And if you love deep dives into the secret lives of the ultra-wealthy, where luxury meets conspiracy, where money meets power, where the truth is stranger than fiction, hit subscribe, because this is Luxury Throne, and we are just getting started.